Welcome, everyone, to another broadcast of the Soul of the Everyman on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past broadcasts are podcasts. You can find them at ArtistFirst.com. We welcome your questions and comments by email, dj@ArtistFirst.com. Here they are, Michael and Margaret Lyons.
And thank you very much, Z-Man. And I am Michael Lyons.
And I'm Margaret.
And she's Margaret. And we are here tonight to tell you that nobody likes a pretty corpse.
Oh, is that why we're here? All righty. I hope you're ready, people.
Well, it's a truism. Nobody likes a pretty corpse. We're here tonight to talk about life, really. And, over the years, and it has been years now, we have talked a lot on the Soul of the Everyman about life and how to live it. And there are many, many, different philosophers. But I think if you were to sum them all up, into just sort of one thought, is that life is to be lived. And, there's a huge movement, Margaret, in the world today to, in essence, get through life completely unscathed. Somehow you're supposed to remain eternally youthful and strong and puissant, and have all your hair or more hair than you started with, or all less wrinkles than you began with, and a very shiny exfoliated skin, and every hair in place, or all hairs removed, or there's all this focus on, in essence, looking as though you had never lived a day or taken a risk or ever had an injury or got your hands dirty.
Right.
And I think that's woefully wrong-headed. And it's exactly the opposite of the way human beings and every other thing on the planet was put here to live. We're put here to be in creation and to do things, to experience things, to be scarred by life, and to bear, I would say, to bear those scars not only proudly but as evidence of a life well lived. And as I've jumped right in, but our muse tonight is a very interesting fellow by the name of Hunter S. Thompson. And Thompson probably could be said to have lived life at 11.
At a breakneck pace.
Right, a breakneck, perhaps a literal breakneck pace. And he died, by his own hand tragically, and he was a very, troubled individual, I would say. But his gusto for life, and you see it in others, other artists whose lust for experience overcomes any sense of decorum or danger, or nothing about them is a shrinking violet. But maybe we should do his quote. Would you like to read his quote? Do you have it in front of you?
No. Sure. I can do that. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride." Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson. And, I think I'll say it this way. If you are living your life, you will find that your body will not be pretty after a while. nor well preserved.
Well, what I'd like to point out is that our body was not made to live forever. In case anyone hasn't noticed that. But it has been made to heal itself. And that is a very telling feature of the body itself. It really isn't designed to live forever, but it is designed to heal. And that means that we were created with the knowledge that we will need to heal, because life down here is not all pretty. We will be hurt by things, and we will need to come back from it. So to take faith in that, understand that your body's healing mechanism is quite amazing. And we can say that quite literally. The natural healing process of your own physical body is truly amazing in the things that it can do. Yes, there are things that will take all of that away. But if you are a healthy individual, you have an amazing, amazing tool at your disposal in order to live your life down here. And it's just so marvelous. Marvelous.
I think that's so very profound in a lot of ways, because we're also meant, we're made to heal on other planes. You have to realize that life will hand you challenges of a non-physical nature.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be beaten. You're going to lose. You're going to be hurt emotionally. You're going to be hurt, and you've got to realize that you heal from those things too. The process of growing up, presents you with many challenges. You change. Your mental faculties change. Your emotional faculties mature and change. You gain the ability to give great love, but also to receive great hurt and to thereby experience suffering. But yet, as you just said, and it's so profound, we're also designed to heal. The first time someone breaks your heart is not the last time, and you will recover from a broken heart. You can, rather. It's not a guarantee, but you have the facility to recover from damages that are done to you emotionally, mentally, physically, certainly. And you said it also, that a healthy body, also a healthy, a healthy mental structure is resilient. It can take the buffets. It can take great stress, great emotional distress, great physical distress. It can be very severely injured, very severely put out of kilter mentally and emotionally, and yet it can recover. And we see it small and large all the time in ourselves and in others. Some of the facility for healing goes throughout. And why? Exactly what you just said. Because we're going to get hurt down here. This is not a safe place, nor is it meant to be.
Well, this is not heaven.
No.
Where you do live forever, and you're in perfection at that point. This is the earth, and we have been given the tools of this body in order to experience this plane of existence. People that want to go through life unscathed, I think, are fascinating. Because why is it being pristine in terms of, like you've never experienced any of it? Maybe let me modify this statement. There's so many people that just want to experience all the good. Oh, it's this, only the good, only the good. And you sit there and you go, That's not real. Like certain people, when they adhere to a religion, they believe that because they're doing everything absolutely perfectly, that nothing bad is ever going to happen to them. And it's like, okay, wait. This is the earth. This is a plane of existence in order for you to experience things. This is not heaven. Can you accept that? Even if you've decided to do whatever your religion happens to be. When I say religion, I mean this is a mode of thought that modifies your behavior, whether you're organic, whether you're strict.
Pick it.
Yeah, you're strictly going by what the authorities tell you is good or bad, or if you're only doing certain certified or diets, let's say, that's supposed to be healthy for you. Or, I mean, it's endless. Endless. Religion means to be yoked. What is it that you are yoking your soul to? That's my question.
Yeah, that's also very profound in the sense that, people have a very narrow definition of religion. They say, well, it's the 5 big ones, whatever it is.
Right.
And then a couple of, a few cults and sects and people running around, crazy people running around the forest. No, religion, truly the word religion is a set of doctrines, a set of rules, usually accepted on, as a priori, as without, cannot be questioned. If you are in this particular modality, these are the rules, and if you don't accept them, you're thrown out. So human beings, in general, take the whole planet. There are, I would say, tens of thousands of religions, which people fold themselves into, sometimes multiple things at once. You mentioned, let's say, just pick one out of a hat, the organic people. And they would swear up and down on a stack of organically dyed and printed Bibles that you could eat that they were not religious. But yet that modality has such, if you are, within it, there's such orthodoxy to it. There's dogma, there's saints, there's sinners, there's the unclean, there's the pure, the ones of the body. They've got the whole thing. It has all the tenets and precepts of any good religion, the ones that they're saying they're not part of. Because human beings, and you just said it, we use our religions as bargaining chips with reality, such that given that we are within them, we feel safe and that we won't in any way be harmed. We will only get the good. If as long as I live, a 1,000% macrobiotic life and eat nothing but organic, vegan, whatever it is, or pick any religion. I'm not picking on the organic crowd, although they're very annoying. But
the problem is self-righteousness in any form.
Well,
is what makes people crazy.
Correct, but it's the bargaining chip part of it that is being used. The idea that I do all these things and nothing but good, as you just said, nothing but good will come to me, and the fragility of those things are exposed when something bad happens. And the whole idea of the well-preserved body that you take into the grave. A lot of them are like that in that regard, especially some of them, let's call them the modern day religions, the cosmetics religions, the live forever religions, the organics, all these other things are really focused on certain aspects of incorruptibility or immortality or never ever having something go wrong, the insurance religion or right?
No. I'm seriously.
If I have enough insurance, nothing can ever go wrong. Well, and they're easy to laugh at because you can always pick your own, your own straw man to set up an argument and knock down.
Well, yeah, you have a thought that you wish to.
Well, no, I just want to say that I'm really expounding on what you said, but they're all nothing more than a fantasy of
control.
Control, exactly.
It's interesting because there was a conversation I had with somebody who was trying to sell me, what is that called? A home equity loan. Because just in case you need something, some money for unexpected incidences, you'll have this to cover it. And it reminded me very much of insurance. So he was saying, "Oh yes, you can certainly get this, and you would be able, like, pick a number out of the air, like you had equity in your house that was, I don't know,
$100,000, whatever that. Just pick a number.
Just pick a number, and then you can cover all the costs that your insurance won't cover." And I sat there for a second and I said, "So let me ask you a question." It's like, "Oh, sure. Do you really think $100,000 is going to cover your medical expenses when you've been hit by something really big?" He stopped for a second. He's like, well, it would certainly cover it. I was like, no. Do you know what the cost of medical is at this moment in time? And then we got into a conversation, and what he did was he switched our conversation to speaker mode so that the other people in the room can hear this conversation, because I can hear the difference in tone coming in my ears. And I said, "Okay, do you know how much 1 month is of hospitalization? Just 1 month." Like, gee, 20,000? No, sweetie. Easily 100,000. Easily.
Pending, sure.
And he's like, I said, "What you're saying doesn't even cover it." And it was like complete dead silence on the other side. There was nothing. It's like your whole spiel trying to sell me what you got because. It's like, and he understood this person that's talking has something under their belt.
Yes.
And I know what I'm talking about.
Well, but that's exactly what people want to do. They want to use these, whatever it is.
Just in case.
Just in case, but
that's my point, if I may finish. The just in case mindset, you must be aware of that, because you can be easily manipulated by them taking hold of your fear and projecting an image in your mind of just in case this will take care of it. It's like, that is BS. Because you do not know what the true circumstances are of the experience that may be in store for you or in store for someone else. There was no fact involved in this.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Fear is the key. And all of the, let's just say all the modalities that are used, especially a lot of the modern ones, are based on stroking a particular fear, whatever it might be, and then offering, in essence, the way out. So here's the door that you can go, this cosmetic, this diet, this whatever.
This will take care of everything.
This will take care of everything. And yet, the fear, the gross fear, the actual underlying fear, is that somehow I won't be able to deal with whatever reality hands to me. And I think the philosophy that's being espoused here, both by Thompson and by others, is that you have to learn to stop caring about whether or not life is going to hand you something that you can't handle,
Mhm.
and let that fear dissolve into, I won't call it courage, but let's just call it, you have to accept the fact that you cannot control. Maybe that's courage in one regard. You could still be afraid that something might happen to you, but you have to accept the fact that nothing, no modality, is going to get you out of it, and the fact that, as Thompson says and others, the purpose of your life. People are always saying, "What's the purpose of my life?" The purpose of your life is rather simple. It's to be here in the moment and experience the moment and realize that you're not going to get out of it. Well, I hesitate to say alive, but you're not going to get out of it unscathed. You're just going to have to realize that your pretty wonderful, beautiful body that you were born with as you came out of mom's womb is going to change. It's going to get older and fatter and scarred and experience and have many joys and many sorrows. And it's all good in one regard. The word good is wrong here because people say, "Well, I don't know, I only want the good." How can you say this is good? It's all correct. What's the word? It's all what needs to be.
It is what is.
There's the word.
People do not want just to experience what is in front of them. They want to control it. And that is the baseline of a human being. We want to be able to dictate certain things. And it's understandable. I mean, let's face it, none of us want to experience suffering or pain. Understood. But the reality is, do you understand when you have control and when you do not? In other words, like the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
Can you change this? I need courage to change this. Or I need peace in order to accept it. To be able to distinguish between the two is one of the biggest discernment acts that a human being can actually do. As many people, there are many motivations behind it. I just don't want to. I don't want to experience that. And you find any excuse, any distraction to engage in so you don't experience it. And many times there is addictions that happen because you don't want to experience whatever it was. Right. And it's usually a mental thing, a mental memory. But you're more than that. Your ego doesn't want to go through this. It basically wants to tell you how you can avoid it, but it never tells you how it needs to be taken care of.
Well, I if we go back to the Serenity Prayer is so close to what Tolle says, but I love the fact that, in essence, the whole idea of if you don't like the present moment, someone will magically appear right next to you selling you the product that will take the that moment away from you, because that's the desire or the fear of not having control, or the desire to control or to judge and say I do wish and I don't wish, is the biggest control mechanism. Someone will run right up to you and control your every action by the fact that you don't want X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And this, if you realize that that's the race that they're putting you on, That it is not you're not only you're not letting life come into your existence, but you've given up the actual control you have. The actual control is what Margaret just said. The Serenity Prayer, or Tolle's way of putting it, is that in the present moment of now, something will happen, because something always does. That's what the present moment of now is about. Something happened. You have that moment of now in consciousness, in awareness, in serenity, which is a great word, to say, can I change this? What will it require of me to do something about it? And this may be courage. And if I can't change it, if I can see nothing else except that I must endure, that I must experience, I have to go through this trial, then grant me the grace to just accept it. And Tolle says, go with it. Say it as though you had chosen the present moment, no matter how, somebody would say to you, how horrible is that? And you have to say, it's not horrible, it just is. Margaret just said it, the word is. It just is. The isness of now, which sounds silly, is if you can accept the isness of now, and the fact that maybe you can change it, and maybe you can, that fact, you're there. You're 99.9% of the way there, because that's all there is. Then you just experience it, and you get a scar, or you have to go through a terrible trial, and you have to heal, perhaps. But all that builds experience. It becomes part of what your existence here now was and is.
You have a choice. That's really what it comes down to. These experiences come up, and you have a choice. How you make that choice is the most important thing. Because if you make it with fear, then your options are usually exceedingly limited, and your soul shrinks.
Could you say that again? If you make it with fear, your options become almost meaningless. They're almost nothing, because fear rules all.
If you make it with love and an open heart, no matter the pain, mind you, an open heart doesn't mean that it's all happy, happy, joy, joy. Okay? It means that you will experience the full range of capacity in your heart of emotions, a full range. And it is both elating and terrifying. You have that range. But you also, in that moment of choosing, can elect not to be overtaken by an emotion. And that is an interesting state to be in, because when your spirit is with you and that touch of the divine is on you, you can actually perceive the entire range of emotion that is possible in a moment. And the fact that you are not burning up or exploding in that moment is only because of the grace that's on you. But to perceive the heights and the depths simultaneously, you shouldn't be standing. Your heart would explode. But it is possible. And when you realize that you have only been living within a certain range of what you were experiencing. You think, as an analogy, you have an entire keyboard of the piano, and all you've been doing is hanging out in middle C. Or
yeah.
even
no, that's wonderful. Yes, the whole 8 octaves or whatever it is.
But you've just been in the middle octave and just going on because this is what you do. But yet, to understand that your perception and your feeling and experience encompasses all of it.
Hmm.
And you can choose to experience it or not.
You can hit any key on the piano when you're not afraid. If your key is middle C, or whatever it is, you have only one key. If
Well,
you're in fear.
If you're in fear, you may not even touch the keyboard.
True.
Okay? Fear freezes you and constrains you into only having a certain level of experience because it's safe. It's just being cautious.
You know what? Let's take a cautious break. Go back to the studio. But this is good stuff, and we'll be back on the other side. We may be worn out and sliding into first, but we'll be there.
Moonstones and murder. Real murderers need a heart of stone. Meet Maggie and Mike Heartstone, parents of twin boys, entrepreneurs, and now empty nesters. Mike is retired, not by choice, from his position as chief of police in the picturesque resort town of Hamilton. And now his wife Maggie and her shop, the Cozy Crystal, are their only source of income. When a mysterious killing interrupts Hamilton's famous Springfield Park rock show, the townsfolk, the Cozy Crystal, and their lives are rocked to the core. Can Mike and Maggie figure out who is behind the murderous deeds before the town comes crashing down around them? A touch of romance, a little mayhem, and a whole lot of suspense, along with plenty of comedy and thrills galore. Get your crystal magnifying glass out. It's time for some Moonstones and Murder. Available on Amazon, Apple, Kobo, and other fine e-tailers in ebook and paperback. Out soon on Audible. Get your copy today.
The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed is the latest book from Michael Lyons, the award-winning author of There is a Reaper. Featuring 13 original stories, this wide-ranging collection has everything. Forbidden love, gods versus demigods, weird invading aliens, sexy seductive artificial intelligence, and unusual passion between the living and the dead. All set amidst fantastic worlds of pain and loss and boundless joy. From the sublime to the macabre to the bittersweet, The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed will leave you breathless with laughter, brimming with tears, trembling with suspense. Available now on Amazon.com, Google Play, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere. The wait is over. First Blood, Book 2 of the Blood series is out. Your favorite bad boy thief Dev is back, and the beautiful and deadly Trey is right there with him. She is sharp, sexy, and full of surprises. Their adventures continue as a new power arises to threaten the world. The heart of creation is under attack, and time is definitely not on their side as they battle against their enemies' undead hordes. Can they unlock the hidden power that can defeat him, or will his forces draw first blood? Get all 3 installments in the series. Book 0, It's in the Blood. Book 1, Destroyer's Blood, and the new release, Book 2, First Blood, today. Available in ebook and paperback format on Amazon, Kobo, Apple, and most other fine e-tailers.
There is a Reaper is the story of 5-year-old Christopher Aaron and his life-changing struggle with leukemia. Winner of both the Indie Bragg Medallion as well as the reader's favorite silver medal for memoir, There is a Reaper has more than 100 Amazon book reviews and a 5-star rating. It has been described as life-changing, spiritual, a must-read. Just released on Audible and iTunes, this memoir is also available in paperback and on Amazon Kindle for only 99 cents. Get your copy of this life-changing memoir today.
Hi, this is Hannah Ruth from the band Wild Hum. Check out our new Americana Soul CD, Wild Hum, at our website, WILDHUM music.com. And you are listening to the Artist First Radio Network. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on The Soul of the Everyman on the Artist First Radio Network. Back to your hosts, Michael and Margaret Lyons.
Thank you very, very much, Z-Man. Wow, what a ride. Tonight we were talking about the ride, the journey that we're all on, the ride of life. And, I want to take this in just a slightly different direction, Margaret. We both know somebody who rode life, similarly in many ways to what Mr. Thompson's talking about here, and that would be Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
Our son Christopher, who passed away at the age of almost 8 from leukemia, was, and I'll just mention that we wrote a book about him, and it's called There's a Reaper, and in that book, which talks about him and his disease and about us, you will gather a sense of who Christopher was. I will say that you will not understand him the way we do, but the sense that I hope you do get from the book is that Christopher lived life at the speed of Christopher, at the speed of now, because he was one of those rare people who never wanted to do anything except experience the moment, and his disease did nothing more than refine that, than make it even more apparent that when he finally did pass away, he had lived a full and complete life. He had done it was a short life, and people would say, oh, what might have been? No. His life was the isness of now for him. And he accepted it and lived it fully to the very last breath. And the scars that he brought with him at the end were nothing more than mute testimony to the fact that life was lived.
Yes.
And we were scarred, and we still bear those scars, but he like few others, really showed the way. And there were a few that we talk about in the book and a few that we met along the way that didn't make it into the book. But that's where you see, if you want to see life experienced at a very high and pure level, I hate to say it, but spend some time in a pediatric cancer ward. Because those kids, most of them, do nothing but live their lives to the fullest extent that they can, for as long as they can. And it's not desperate or even, railing against their fate. No, they're just there to live, because they're not into the emotional nonsense that the adults put themselves, oh, it could be this, it could be, no, they're like, hey man, ice cream.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. The fact that life was there when they opened their eyes was a thing to be enjoyed. Yeah, there were things I have to do in order to allow Mom and the doctors to let me do what I want to do. But I get to do them. I got something new. I got something to try. And that was the one thing that we strove to do, was to continually present new situations for him to experience. Even though he was fighting a disease that was very debilitating, there was an incredible sweetness to being able to live through the day.
Mm.
And the day brought something new, always. So you began to learn by being with these children to let go of what you think should be. because it didn't even matter to them. It's like, what? No. I'm here right now. What can I do in this moment? What can be done in this moment? What can we bring in? What can we send out? What can we, and then to go home and, okay, what can we do now? Yeah, can you go and get that favorite food of mine? Sure, I will try my best. Will I be able to see my brothers today? Yes. I miss you. The sweetness that life is when you're not mired into the details, the things that cry out for your attention. And that line, well, gee, if I don't do it, no one else will do it. That makes you important.
What you said, the very first thing you said, I think was so profound. The living life, not what you think it should be, because that's the ego judging. Oh, this I don't want, and this I want, and I'm so miserable. Oh, woe is me because I can't have X, Y, or Z, and if I'd only done this and only done that. If you're an adult, you can live through your whole life or any experience like that, and you're not living it. You're not experiencing it. You're just in the past or in the future. These kids live in the now, more so than perhaps we had ever experienced prior to that. The now meant that no matter what the next moment brought, whether it was some new diagnosis or some unexpected joy, whatever it was, the moment that they were in was the important one. It was the only one you actually have, but it was the important one. It was, well, what can I do now? Can I go cook something? Can I play a video game? Can I just have a nap? Maybe I have to have a procedure. Maybe whatever it is, you're in the moment where you have to do exactly what we said in the last half hour. You have to accept the current moment as that's what the isness of now is. And can I do anything to change it? Can I with courage, can I make it better or do something? But if I can't, then I accept this. I let grace flow in. It's not this giant woo-wah. It's just the as Margaret said, the touch of grace, which gives you all the options. I now have everything in front of me. The highs, the lows, the ins, the outs, every key on the keyboard. And then the next moment of now comes. And maybe it's completely different. Oftentimes it is. And there are those all around us in that moment who are trying to drag you out of the moment of now. They're trying to drag you into their reality, or into the past, or into the future, or trying to sell you something because they think you're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. If you do this and do this and do this and all those things, and if you hadn't done that, you would be over here. It's so tempting. Because that's what the world wants to hand you all the time. And these kids would... I love the way Christopher you just order them out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And they just couldn't understand how he could do. What, you mean you want me to... Yes, leave now.
Mm-hmm. Not agreeing with...
Exactly.
No, you're not that important to me. Or the question, can I ask you a question? Sure. How did you notice that this diagnosis? And when did you, and you look at them and go, you need to read the chart. It's in the chart.
In the chart. But we want to practice on you. I don't want to play. Go away. I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that sometimes, this is in the book or maybe not, but they would come in troops of doctors. It was a teaching hospital. They come in troops of doctors, and then very, very, we have to do these things. And we're here. We're your doctors. And he would just sit there and look at the TV and turn it up a notch at a time. You have to start talking louder and louder. And he's like,
yes.
Can you make him stop? No.
They're trying to talk, and he doesn't want to hear them. And he would just slowly turn the volume up
on the TV.
on the
No, you
television.
say, oh, how rude. No, he was living life in the moment. They were trying to drag him into their reality, their little fantasy of playing doctor, because that's what they were really doing. And he didn't have time for that.
Well, okay, let me qualify this. This was a teaching hospital, and the doctors were each given approximately 6 or 7 doctors who want to specialize in pediatric cancer. And each of the doctors had their own specialty, so they were divvied up accordingly.
They have student doctors with an actual resident. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, this is the doctors themselves. The resident is different. The resident was the one doctor in charge of all the, they're not even student doctors. I guess they are student doctors, because they're doctors, but they were students going for a specialization.
Specialization, right, okay.
But they had gone through med school, and there were many that had a lot of ego because they had gotten into a prestigious hospital setting, because Sloan was very particular about who they let in. So they're there, and they're going to help you.
Whether you want it or not.
Well,
we're here to help you.
Well, they do their rounds, and all the patients and the moms are looking at each other going, okay, you ready? Because we knew what was going to happen. So we would always liken them to a mother duck with a flock behind her, stopping here. The mother duck is saying something, and the little ducklings are nodding their heads back and forth in unison, up and down. Then they go on to the next patient, and we're all like, okay, this is going to end soon. It's like, can I have breakfast? Sure, you can have breakfast. So we're like, well, you want to have them come in the middle of your breakfast? All right, I'll wait. You know, it's again, back and forth and up and down. You were timing things. And there were certain doctors that had a sense of humor, that understood that these kids were, and there were other ones that were far too serious for their own good.
Too important. Yes.
Well, just, they would come in, I still remember that, and I may have mentioned this before, but a young female doctor coming in, just looking at us, and, hi, I'm your doctor. I said, okay. Who are you with? Oh, no, I'm your doctor. I was like, okay. We're with the bone marrow transplant team. Are you part of that team? Oh, no. I see.
Right. You could see them just like shrink. Like, ooh.
Okay. So, are you working under Dr. Levine? Okay, he's the resident. I see. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, but, I'm here to help you. Yes, I understand. Do you have his history under your belt? Oh, no, I thought I talked to you. No. You need to read his chart if you really want to know his history.
What?
History of these children is very complex. They look at you like, aha.
And you see, but the experience that we were going through, and what Christopher led us through in this regard, seeing these kids live at that level, live at the level that the pettiness of others, or the self-importance, or it's what you said before. It's the people who are in there selling you insurance. They're there. Oh, I'm here to help you. You should listen to me, because otherwise, if you don't listen, they're selling you something which they really don't possess. It's really just playing upon your fear. And when you've broken through, there's a moment. It's a sweet moment. It's very scary, but it's a sweet moment where you break through, and you realize that nothing that they're doing It's not that it doesn't matter, but they don't really have any idea what's going to happen next. They'll tell you all these things, and we would nod, you would nod, Chris would nod, and say, okay, we're going to do this anyway. And they'd be like, but I just told you all these things. Yes, I understand, but we're going to do this anyway. And they just couldn't quite wrap their heads around. Some could, but most couldn't, because they were still trapped in the, well, if I tell you these are your options, and it's A, B, and C, you can't choose F. F isn't even on the table, so we're going to do F anyway. Ding, 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 we're going off on F, F sharp, we're going to go to G. We're going to all the way down the piano. We don't care. It's not that we don't care. It's that we understood that in the moment, the heart informed that the things that they were telling us were just one little note on the keyboard that they wanted to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing the symphony. We had the moment of now. You break through in great duress sometimes, or in great, Tolle says there's a moment of just awareness that the consciousness expands and the ego, and you see it all. You go, and you don't necessarily stay there all the time, but once you've done it, it becomes something you can do. It becomes something you know you can do because you've been there. You've experienced the fact that life is not controllable, that your fears don't matter, that every key on the keyboard is available to you. And Christopher and the kids in that ward, they were like, yeah, it's life, it's now, it comes at you fast, I'm going to live it.
Mm-hmm.
And they got scars.
Plenty.
Most of them did not survive.
Yeah.
And their bodies at the end were not pretty.
No.
But they were lived. They really lived.
Yeah. With a freedom that was truly amazing.
Freedom is the word.
Mm-hmm. Their experience was full.
Mm.
Whether it is considered a good one or a bad experience, it was full. And they took every drop of it and learned from it. And their souls were refined by this fire. The dross was burned out, so that nothing left except gold.
And that gold, that wonderful saying, like gold that's refined in fire. This what Thompson says here is that it's his own echo of it, but it's got that truth in it. What makes it a little profound. If you sit there in fear, saying, "Well, I have to maintain my balance and every drop of water in me and all the creams and ointments and my body has to be this pristine temple," you can do that in awareness, but in general, it's done in unconsciousness, in fear, and you're judging. This is good. This is bad. This I don't want. This I want that, and none of that is living life at the speed of now. Living life at the speed of now, you realize that your next breath is not guaranteed, and you got to live in the moment of now because you don't know what the next moment's going to bring you. It might be your last moment. There's all these trite sayings. Live life as though it was your last moment. Yes, and there's nothing that guarantees it. And once you accept it. And sometimes under great duress, people understand that, but it'd be better if you can do it without. But once you accept it, that nothing is guaranteed about the next moment, you live this one. Doesn't mean you have to be jumping off cliffs every 5 seconds. It does mean that you realize that the full breadth of everything that your heart can imagine and do and touch and perceive and grow into is yours always. And no fearmonger, however well-intentioned, is anything more than just another little ego unconscious fragment that's kind of whispering in your ear, you should do this, you should do that, and you go, okay, yeah, I've heard all that. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit F. And they just don't understand that you can hit C sharp and F and all the keys on the keyboard. It kind of distresses them. People will start to walk away from you. Like Margaret said, the line gets very quiet on the other end when telling things, I don't know what to do. Maybe you may wake up another, but in general, people who live this way, what Thompson's talking about, or Mother Teresa, or anybody who lives their life at the speed of now, their bodies show it. Mother Teresa's face was incredibly beautiful, but yet ruined, tortured. Someone who wore themselves out to a nothing, to a bag of bones and skin, barely able to, she almost looked like the people she was taking care of, and all shriveled and withered, but yet the spirit within would stop you dead in your tracks because it was so pure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key, is the body withers its form, but the spirit within becomes so amazingly, strikingly beautiful that it will stop people in their tracks and go, something special here. What stops you too? Your heart stops you because you perceive that this outer form contains something precious, no matter how withered and broken it may be.
No. The spirit expands past the physical, and you feel their presence.
Presence.
Far
Exactly.
away from the physical form, but you perceive it and the radiance that comes from them. And you realize that, this is this which I perceive is the eternal part of them.
The radiance.
And that is their true form. And that is what you yourself engages with. You engage with your true form to true form. It cannot be done any other way. You cannot engage in your true form and someone's physical form because it does not make sense.
That's so perfect. Because that's what it is. Your true form feels the echo of their radiance, of their consciousness at that level. And the physical matters so little. Why, when you have a relationship with somebody, why does the physical cease to matter? Yeah, you both get old and bumps and hairless and fat, but it doesn't matter. None of that matters. Why? Because you're no longer dealing at the form level. It may have started there. It may have been very pretty or handsome or whatever. But once you connect at the form level, at the spirit level, the form doesn't matter. And that's because the true relationship has nothing to do with form. Just as when people pass away, your true relationship has nothing to do with physical presence or time. Isn't that it? Time, the physical form, mean nothing in the moment of now.
If you understand that time is created by ego, you have your first step. Because ego needs time in order to begin the manipulation. And speaking,
you know what time it is?
Yes. We have reached the end of our hour. So,
I'm Michael Lyons.
And I'm Margaret. And thank you for listening.